John 6, verse 18. A high wind arose and the sea began to churn. You can see the scene now. This is the setup for a miracle, for Jesus walking on the water. But the disciples they'd already head out in the dark. They're headed back to Capernaum. They're rowing. In one of the other gospels, it's hard work because they're rowing against the wind, and they're not making good distance. And we're going to read in this particular case, they've gone 3 or 4 miles. They're out in the middle of this thing. It's 7 miles for the whole trip, so now they're maybe halfway, and the wind is blowing. A high wind arose, and the sea began to churn. What a picture. You think about Jesus walking on the water, and you imagine this sort of just smooth sea, but instead it's big waves and the churning lake and the water, and enough that it could be scary and it could be difficult, and they're not going anywhere. It's a serious storm out on a very large lake, and you just feel the tension in all this. You can feel the disciples' concern, which is when they get to the next section, they're going to see Jesus walking on the water, and he tells them not to be afraid. And one of the other gospels are like, it's a ghost, and they're totally terrified because it's dark and they don't have light. It's windy, so they don't just have easy torches. The sea is churning. I mean, just picture the scene and what's about to happen. And in the midst of all this crazy storm, Jesus is going to be walking on the water. The disciples are in the boat, and Jesus is walking on the water. The details are interesting because, a lot of times when we see things that are written, we see these quick skims. Here's a quick deal, and away we go. Here's, it seems like an eyewitness account that the winds were blowing, the sea was churning, we weren't getting very far, we were about this far away. You just see the whole thing. Just feel the moment as we're heading into the next verses.